Right, welcome back to another episode of Testing the Tips, where I, as an average golfer, test out tips from the leading golf professionals on YouTube that try and instruct, give tips and drills to us average golfers. And this is my interpretation of a video from Harry Shaw. First time we featured Harry's channel on our channel, so make sure you go and check that out, and the link to his full video will be in the description below in case my interpretation isn't quite right. It was a real interesting one. It's a 5-minute drill that will save you hitting thousands of balls on the range. I'm not sure I quite agree with that, because practicing the 5-minute drill with 1,000 balls will probably be very productive. But anyway, what it looks at, first of all, I'm going to break this down into a number of elements, try and simplify things. First point is, well, Harry goes on to explain a number of issues with the swing. I'm going to skip all that bit because we want to get right into the meat of the drill itself and what Harry is trying to explain. First phase is dead simple, but very effective. A lot of golfers will have a lot of issues with chicken wing, as it's often referenced to, and it's this right elbow that on takeaway can cause you all kinds of problems, really restrict the golf swing in general, and can be very counterintuitive in what you're trying to achieve. So how do we ensure that the right elbow is in a position that allows us to comfortably enter into the backswing, get the club set in a good position on the takeaway? Well, it's all about the position of the elbow. And what you will generally find is that if I was to address the ball right now, there's a lot can happen when the elbow is facing directly towards you. And what that does is, straight away, if I try and make a backswing, this is where I'm in a very awkward and uncomfortable position, because quite honestly, the elbow doesn't work in that way, in that it doesn't bend that way. So straight away, I've got to lift up. And I've seen a lot of golfers over the years, and a lot of golfers at the driving range or on the golf course itself will get themselves into that very awkward position. And by putting the elbow into a different position whilst in address, that can resolve all of that. And that's that first bit that we're going to look at. So you're in the address position, elbow is facing that way. What we want to do is get the elbow tucked into the body. So the elbow is facing the body as opposed to down the target line. And the sort of forearm is facing forward, if you like. And the way to do that, the simplest way to do that, is to have the hand pointing forward, pointing to the sky, forearm in exactly the same way. And all we're going to then do is rotate the hand and the wrist, leaving the forearm exactly where it is. So that's all we're going to do, change the hand, and we're going to address the club shaft from there. Now what that allows me to do is when now my forearm is facing forward, my elbow is tucked into the body, straight away when I look to turn, naturally, keeping the elbow tucked in and keeping the elbow pointing towards the body rather than this way, I'm in a very good set position immediately on the takeaway. So that's with that one hand, and all I've done is really just rotated, the elbow stays pretty much attached, and then we get into that position, and again, we're getting into a fairly decent position. Mine won't be perfect, but it allows me to turn and get into that position very, very quickly, very, very comfortably, and very, very effectively. Now, that's phase one. So dead simple, address your ball, forearm and hand pointing forward or to the ceiling, whichever way you interpret that. Elbow is facing my body rather than down the target line. I'm just going to turn the wrist and address the ball, and that's it. Phase one, we're in a really good natural position that is extremely comfortable to start that backswing.
Today's video was filmed at Chester and North Wales Golf Academy.
So on to phase two, and this element, very, very quick to be honest with you. Let's try and get this through as fast as we possibly can. So let's start again, get my grip position, I'm in, elbow is in, and we've got this far, we're sort of waist height so far, in a realistically good position. We've then got to see how we get to the top of the backswing, maintaining that sort of position and maintaining the elbow tucked in. And it's a natural progression, or at least it seems so for me. So when you get to here, it's a case of turning the sort of back to target, which is something you'll be familiar with. So I like to sort of start it all again, wrist in, elbow in, we're into this position, back to target. Now sort of overbroke the wrist there, because what the next checkpoint, if you like, in the swing is to make sure that the butt of the club is pointing down towards the ball. So at that point there, I'm in, well, what would deem to be again, just got to make sure for me personally, I'm not sort of over breaking those wrists. So getting to that position there at the top of the swing, the butt of the club is pointing directly towards the ball. Now there's a little drill that Harry mentions, which is sort of tucking a little bit of your t-shirt into your under your armpit. You're in that position, we're there and we're there, and the idea is obviously that this isn't being released, because if I let go of that, if there's a bit of chicken wing appears and I start to release the elbow from the side too much, then your t-shirt will fall out. So dead easy, we're into the position, we've got halfway into the swing, top of the backswing, making sure as a visual check that the butt of the club is pointing towards the golf ball, excuse me, and again, little t-shirt drill, keep that intact, make sure that everything is connected to the top of the swing. But we now need to see what happens there. Got to the top of the backswing, but how do we finally hit a golf ball, and how does this 10-minute video turn into a 5-minute drill? So final piece of this strategy, we actually don't need a golf club, we need a golf ball, or maybe go onto a beach and grab yourself a pebble, because what we're looking to do is create what is effectively how you would look to skim a stone across the water. We're going to do that, like I said, with a pebble if you're on the beach, but if you're in here, what I'm going to use is a golf ball. So we've got our position, elbow facing the body, and now we're going to look to release the club head, or release the hands, with that sort of skimming motion. So from here, elbow still tucked in, but we're looking to unwind the body, and we're looking to get that kind of motion across the ball. So we're from here, and then it's releasing that kind of motion. So instead of, again, throwing sort of upwards, an elbow coming detached from the body, it's to get a feeling of keeping the elbow tucked in and pointing continuously. So the whole idea really is the elbow continually points towards the body. So if you remember, we started off the whole thing with our elbow being pointing towards you, the rear, the camera. We took that elbow in, the elbow stays pointing towards the body, and then it stays pointing towards the body throughout the swing. Now what I'm going to do, whilst we're still rolling, because I know I'm always conscious that these go on too long in terms of explanation and not enough hitting of golf balls, so let's get to that stage now. Right, so let's get my nice position. I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to look to throw that club face. So up to here, I feel as though that was kind of like a bit of a pull down the left. Yes, it was, so I can work with that. But straight away, what you'll find is, or what I found, is the sequence and the connection throughout the swing is a real sort of comfortable one. So I'm going to go here, and then that's the finish that we're looking to make. So, elbow tucked in. Again, felt a little bit thin at the moment, as if I'm delivering the sort of down the left-hand side. I always say, and that's why I like to sort of relay the exact sort of information that I am finding when I do these tests. Testing the tips is all about, there's a lot of information out there. Your interpretation of it is key. And what you don't do is certainly walk to a golf ball and everything works straight away. But what you certainly find with some tips rather than others is that you will find a sort of something resonates in the brain, and you realise that this is actually working for me. And then you start to work a little bit with the feel. Now, that one felt, like I said, straighter. Again, just a little bit thin, so it's still not quite right. But what I do know is, I'm getting a little bit carried away here as I'm talking, this will definitely bear fruit if I sort of carry on and the strike is really good, but the whole sort of connection between body and arms and sequence, if you like, is the bit that's a real positive outcome for me. So like with them all, there's no immediate fix. It says in the title of Harry's video, and we'll have interpreted that in the same way, is it sort of saves you hitting thousands of balls on the driving range. That's the bit that I don't agree with. use the drill, but still hit thousands of balls on the driving range. And hopefully you'll be able to perfect that sort of that movement and that sequence into a way that helps you on the golf course. But I think, like I said, even if you don't get immediate results, as I haven't with those couple of earlier balls, you'll realize and start to see things or feel things that are perhaps very different than your current swing, that there's a bit of a light bulb moment. You go, ah, right, I get it. I understand why I feel so uncomfortable in my current swing and why this is something that will certainly help me in the long run. That's the way I look at these videos anyway. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget, Harry's video will be in the description down below. Go and check out Harry's channel. I'm sure it's very good and very effective, at least based on that drill, because I really enjoyed that and something that I will continue to practice into my own game. Right, I'm all done. Go out and give it a go and then come back and let me know, did it work or didn't it? Any kind of feedback is always welcome. And the Testing the Tips channel is flying right now, so please, the way you can help that further grow is by subscribing. Don't forget it's free. Hit that like button and give me some feedback as well, and we'll continue to try and make this work and both of us become better golfers along the way. Right, I'll see you soon.